Look here what happened.
Hey guys, this is Chauncey from Good Music to Know, and today we're joined by Color Temperature to discuss their latest album, B-Sides, a collection that feels personal, reflective, and quietly powerful. It explores themes like change, memory, growing up, and trying to make sense of it all. It's an album that feels like a full chapter, not just a group of songs, but a complete and cohesive collection, and we are super excited to have Ross on the show today. So welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so the title, B-Sides, like when you hear this, naturally one thinks of a secondary recording or one that typically receives less attention. What made you choose that name, and how do you see it in relation to the music itself?
It's funny because a lot of these are kind of B-sides from the album that I put out right before, or I guess the year before, called Here For It. I kind of overwrote for that album, which I don't typically do, but what I ended up doing was I brought some older songs onto that album that sort of pushed out a couple of the newer songs. Then I took some of those new songs and some of the older songs that didn't make it onto that album, and that kind of formed like maybe the first third or half or so of the B-Sides album.
Oh, okay.
It's those B-sides plus some other scraps and thoughts that I had been kind of saving for an actual LP album release that I kind of just wanted to clear the queue, honestly, for myself and just put those out without thinking about it too much. The album beforehand was one of the first times I had really tried to make an album with a story. It was a fun experience, and I wanted to move a little bit more in that direction, but intentionally write a lot of newer material and not lean on anything older so that I could tell an entirely new story for the next upcoming album.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or you could have done like Mark DeMarco in that one album where he has like 47 tracks.
Honestly, I thought about it.
Yeah. But what I like is that when I was listening to the whole album and all the lyrics, like there's kind of this like quiet thread of like time running through this record. So there's nods to like your past selves, but there's also like glimpses of the future, but also like youth versus now. So were these ideas something that you were like working towards intentionally, or did it kind of just happen or unfold during the process?
I think that I sort of just write like that a lot.
Yeah.
And some of those songs, the first song on there, which I think is Tracks,
yeah,
I wrote probably 10 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
And I have been trying to put it on an album, and it just never really worked. So I wrote that even pre-Color Temperature. I used it for an old band, but never actually released it. And I sort of reimagined it, rearranged it a little bit, made it be a little less like emo garage rocky, and a little bit more dreamy to kind of fit it a little bit more into the Color Temp sound at that moment. And it finally had its place with all of these songs that I'd kind of collected. So there is sort of a theme of like, you know, past selves and future selves. I definitely hear that. It's a good call out.
Yeah. And then also throughout the album, there's like these moments where these vivid metaphors or imagery kind of pop up. So you have like climbing trees, and there's paper boats, and there's guest house and tides. They land with like an emotional weight, but they never feel over-explained. Do visuals like that usually come from specific memories, or do they surface more like instinctively?
For the song Guest House,
yeah,
I started writing that probably also 10 years ago. That one's another older one that I'd been trying to fit in, and I ended up rewriting the whole first part of that song probably a year before I released it. So it was like it was a collaboration with my older self in that way, right? And it has a kind of a lot of sections to it. I was staying with a friend that was like house sitting for this huge house while the owner was gone. The band I was playing with at the time, I think we played a show together, and we crashed in the guest house.
Oh, okay.
And so I was just playing with my friend's guitar, and I started writing a little riff. and called it Guest House in my phone. The name stuck. And I like doing that. I like if I write something, I'll either name it something I see in the room or something someone just said to me, maybe, or something from a movie I just watched, or something that just feels very immediate. It may inform the lyrics, it may not, but typically it ends up informing the lyrics.
Yeah. And what I really, really like, I guess if you listen closely, is the vocal mix shifts that you have across the album. So on some tracks, your voice feels really close and intimate, and then others, it's a bit like softened by the reverb and tucked further into the arrangement. So how intentional were those choices when you're shaping the songs? I think if you think about the song, what's it called? So Tracy Slow, I don't know if I'm saying this, but is it Skim? SKM?
Yeah, I call it Skim. It stands for Some Kind of Magic. That song was untitled for a while, and I just said I gotta put something on it.
Yeah, but like those two in particular, like your voice is like really upfront and like center. Is that more about emotional clarity or something else?
I tend to try to not sing every single song the same. It keeps it fun and interesting for me, but also it can kind of lend itself a little bit to the lyrics and they can kind of hold hands a little bit and take cues from one another. That recording of Skim actually was just done in my old apartment when I lived in North Carolina. I sat down in my shower stall and recorded a little video session. I was developing a lot of film, and so I had all the film hanging and drying in the shower stall, and I sat amongst it and just recorded that one live, and I'd never got a better take of that song than that. So yeah, I just used that one, and it just felt right to the song, it felt very organic.
Yeah, like some of the songs obviously are like lush and layered, and maybe others feel a bit more stripped back. So do you tend to build, like when you're creating a song, do you tend to build around like your voice and the guitar first, or what's your process like for the song creations?
Generally, I'll write something on acoustic guitar first, and so the vocal is usually very clear and forward, right? Because it's just an acoustic. But I think that while I'm writing, I'll kind of be able to envision in my head a little bit what I want the final direction to be, whether that includes like what kind of drum beat I want to have, or sometimes I'll know like, oh, I would love to have like a big ending on this song. I just know that I need that,
Yeah.
I need that release for whatever reason. When I'm building it, when I'm recording it, I think that sometimes I just want to have fun, and so I want to add a bunch of stuff. I want to like have my headphones on and sit back and just be like, oh, this sounds so big and expansive, and it's cool to bring a song so far away from where it started sometimes too.
Yeah, definitely. And then I love the final 3 tracks. So there's Skim. I think Overalls is the one that's the full instrumental.
Yeah.
Which is so beautiful. I always love a good instrumental on an album. And then there's Humble Dust. So this kind of feels like a soft descent. They're a bit more stripped back, like there's more like space between the lines. So were those sequencing choices meant to kind of like help the album land gently, or just curious?
To me, I don't think that those songs could have fit anywhere else but that gentle landing, know? And it felt like a really cool full circle way to kind of like, because I'll write some songs that are really big, some songs that are really small, and I like that sort of just downhill descent. It feels like a smooth landing. It feels truly like that album is over.
Yeah. I
don't like thinking in terms of eras for my music in general, but specific also for this project. I don't like to envision the sound too much before I let something happen while I'm recording and writing.
Yeah.
But I also knew that I wanted to just try something a little different. And so I think that slow, smooth landing kind of just like in the discography, if you're listening from the first song ever released, right, to this, it gives a little bit of a breath until the next thing, which is kind of nice, I think.
Yeah. And I was listening back to your other albums. I can't remember, but I think this was the only one that had this big of an instrumental in it. It was this one, right? So how was that process? Like working with an instrumental, like where you don't really have like, like lyrics or the hook or the chorus is like, how was that process?
I've been wanting to do more songs with more instrumentals, actually. whether that's an entire song being an instrumental or little interludes, or maybe even a song that only has, a couple lyrics and then just a lot of music. And I think that you could probably expect a little more of that in the future. I know some of the new songs have that on there.
Yes. Yeah. It was really good. And it was such a good transition from the song before, because the song before, what was it called again? I think there was a skim, which already had kind of like heavy content in it. Yeah. So it's nice that you kind of have a break to think about what you just heard before. I think it was like the perfect placement for an instrumental. So when we got to that part, I was like, so good. But yeah, I really liked it.
Oh, thank you.
Bit of a fun question. So if someone only had time for one song from the album that they like, that you could show them, which track would you send them?
That's a great question. I think I might send them Guest House, because it does have, that song's kind of almost like a mini suite or a song of like mini songs. It's got probably 4 or 5 maybe totally different sections that don't really ever repeat. And I used to write a little bit more like that, but it's a fun way to experiment, to try to not repeat anything in a song. And I think it kind of runs the gamut a little bit of color temp as a whole.
Yeah. I also love that one, but I also like the lyrics and how you write. It's a bit ambiguous, and you write in like a very like poetic way, which I appreciate. There's like so many ways that you can interpret your lyrics. My God, I was looking at the lyrics for Guest House maybe for like a good 15 minutes. I'm like, could it mean this? Does it mean this? But I don't know. That's what I love about your lyricism. Like it's done so poetically, but it allows the listener to still maybe impose their own meaning on it. So yeah. Anyway, so after releasing this, has anything shifted in how you view your own writing or production instincts?
Yeah, a lot has changed, actually. I started renting out a different studio space earlier this year, and there's a lot more gear available to me because it's a shared space, but also just the space is more comfortable than any studio I'm used to a very small practice studio that smells questionably, and it doesn't have a lot of room to physically like move around.
Yeah.
And so the new place that I'm at is incredible for that. And it's given me more space and more time to experiment with sounds a little bit differently, go a little bit more hi-fi too with some of the gear available, which is nice. For this new album that I'm working on now, I'm doing it a lot differently than I've ever done. And I'm currently still working on it. It doesn't have a name yet, but it's live. It's out there. I'm just calling it the ongoing album right now. I was kind of looking for a way to do something a little differently, not just like doing a Spotify rollout. Obviously we know Spotify has a lot of issues and a lot of the streaming models are not the greatest. And I was just kind of looking for an alternative to that, and to keep me excited of just kind of like, recording a song and putting it out instantly if I wanted to, and not having to wait and try to come up with this big plan. You think of like bands that have a bunch of different live versions of songs, like Grateful Dead or whatever, or a band like Pinegrove, where they'll put out 2 recordings of the same song. Some people like this version better, some people like this version better. And I think it's such a cool thing to have those multiple versions. And so this is kind of working on that too. So basically the new album, it's live now. It's undergone some changes. Like if you go and you listen to it today and then you come back a couple weeks later, it could be a whole new track listing. Some of the lyrics might change. There might be more instruments on a song. And it's just kind of out there as I work on it. So that's been.
Where can you find this?
Right now, it's I need to get like a website link for it. But right now, I'm using Samply, which is it's typically for a producer to share their mix right with someone. But this is kind of fun because if I do keep one song on there, my plan is that you'll be able to drop down and listen to
and how it's changed. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm working on now.
I was nervous. I was like, did I miss this? I checked your Bandcamp as well. I was like, oh God, did I not see this? Okay, cool.
Well, you're good. And that's the other thing too, is like having it in this different place. It's like, I'm trying to keep the link the same, but the last version was on SoundCloud, and I just decided to move over to Samply. So I can it gives me something to like post about online and talk about, but also staying away from social media, I can just text the link to my friends and say, oh, there's new music up. Check it out if you want,
That's actually super cool. I love that idea. Yeah. Now I have to check out Samply and find this. Yeah.
I started writing some of these songs maybe, I don't know, a year and a half or so ago. And I noticed that a lot of the lyrics had, there's a theme in there with mirrors.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure why. It just kind of happened in a couple songs. I just noticed it, clocked it, moved on. And then ended up moving, and the house I'm in now has mirrors everywhere.
No.
You'll see there's some behind me there, but I mean, the living room is a full mirror wall. And I was like, I'm going to lean into this a little bit. So there's the reflection aspect too of like, you get the multiple versions of the songs. You're seeing, kind of some different versions of that. And so yeah, it's been fun to kind of lean in and use that to guide the songwriting a little bit too.
Yeah. And is there a song that from the album that like you're most looking forward to playing live, or that's your favorite to play live?
Color Temperature has been my solo recording project, and I think the only thing that someone else has played on a record is the saxophone solo that my near and dear friend Cyrus played on my Christmas song. And he plays in my live band now, which is really cool. But the live band has always kind of been a revolving door of friends and collaborators. And so there's been 5 people in the band. Right now there's 2 other people. So it's a 3-piece in the current iteration. And so that kind of determines what we'll play. But tracks has been very fun to play live. I've always wanted to play that in like a grimy basement. It's kind of like the original way I wrote it, We just played it at a show for the first time semi-recently. So that was a really fun one.
Yeah. And what's next on the agenda for 2020? Well, I guess this year's almost over. So 2025, 2026. Yeah. Do you have like any shows coming up? I know you're working on this ongoing album, but anything else?
I've got a show in Brooklyn at Sleepwalk on December 8th. And it's a release show for a buddy's band, Waterfall Strainer. That'll be really fun. That's the only show we've got planned. I'm leaning more into recording right now, but I'm sure that 2026 we'll be playing some shows too. So
yeah. I think those are the main questions I had for you, but are there any final words that you would like to leave your fans and the listeners with? Take
a listen to the new album. Keep checking in on it. I'll be posting links on social media and wherever, and it's going to be ever changing. So no release date in sight. I'm just kind of riding it out until it feels done, and we can see how it changes together.